Hello, I'm Sherry Sturman, Director of Crayola Education. I'm excited that Harper Kids and Crayola are collaborating on the Read Along, Draw Along series that helps children enjoy great stories and the illustrations that bring them alive. We're thrilled that today's session features a beloved classic book that is celebrating its 75th anniversary this year, GoodnightMoon. This story is so special that our astronaut friends at the International Space Station are going to read it aloud and then answer kids' questions about space travel. So get cozy, gather some art supplies, and get ready for an interactive story session that will begin with an inspirational message from NASA Deputy Administrator Pam Melroy. Pam, please introduce yourself. We're eager to hear how creativity and a sense of wonder have guided your career path.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pam Melroy, and I have the honor of serving as NASA's Deputy Administrator. The moon is in our sights, and it's shining bright. We have science missions there now, and soon we're sending humans back to it. We're committed to establishing a long-term presence at the moon and beyond. Artemis 1 is the first in a series of complex missions that will help us learn to live and work at the moon and help us learn to go farther, to Mars and beyond. This uncrewed test is taking us farther than a spacecraft built for humans has ever traveled before. My dream of working for NASA started with the Apollo program, when I saw humans working to get to the moon and then actually doing it. It sparked my passion for exploring and seeing what others have not yet discovered. Our interests take root when we are kids. I'd like to thank my parents and the teachers and role models in my life who helped nurture my curiosity. Their support propelled me on an incredible journey as an Air Force pilot, an astronaut, and now as a NASA leader. Just as the Apollo missions did for my generation, we hope that Artemis ignites your curiosity and drives your passion to explore. We hope that students across the globe consider the power of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics careers to leave a lasting and positive impact on the world we live in, and the power of creativity to tell the stories of our hopes and achievements. As you enjoy this story, continue to dream about your place in the universe and follow your creative passions. We need all of you in our future. While we still have a ways to go to complete our Artemis missions, as we fly by the moon, we reflect on the inspiration and scientific promise that our nearest celestial neighbor holds, and the importance of your dreams to help us get there. We would like to collectively say, good night, moon. Good night, stars. We'll see you again soon as we send humans back to the moon and build the knowledge and know-how we need to venture even further into the solar system.
Thank you, Pam, for sharing your inspirational story. I love your message that every child can build leadership skills and that curiosity helps their inner star shine. Now let's travel to outer space to join one of the NASA astronauts on board the International Space Station. Welcome, Dr. Tom Marshburn, to the Read Along, Draw Along program. We're excited that you're going to read Goodnight Moon while you are much closer to the moon than we are down here on Earth. First, before you start the story, please introduce yourself and tell us where you are.
Hello, my name is Tom Marshburn, and I'm an astronaut living and working aboard the International Space Station. This is a spacecraft about the size of a 5-bedroom house orbiting 250 miles high, traveling 17,500 miles per hour around the Earth. So fast that we circle the Earth every 90 minutes. Still, we're close enough to be seen from Earth, and we look like a bright star moving across the sky. We get to see spectacular views of the Earth, but we also love to gaze at the beauty of the Moon and our universe. But NASA's getting ready for Artemis 1, the first test of our new space launch system and the Orion spacecraft that will travel thousands of miles beyond the Moon. This mission is helping us get ready to put the first woman and the first person of color on the Moon's surface as we build the knowledge we need to go even further. I'm excited today to read a book that has inspired kids on Earth about our Moon and encouraged them to explore the world around them for 75 years.
Thank you, Dr. Marshburn, for showing us what it's like up there on the International Space Station, and for sharing NASA's plans for future space exploration. Now, let's dive into the story.
Goodnight Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. Pictures by Clement Hurd. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon, and there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs, and 2 little kittens and a pair of mittens, and a little toy house, and a young mouse, and a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush, and a quiet old lady who was whispering, "Hush." Good night, room. Good night, moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. Good night, light in the red balloon. Good night, bears, and good night, chairs. Good night, kittens, and good night, mittens. Good night, clocks, and good night, socks. Good night, little house, and good night, mouse. Good night, comb, and good night, brush. Good night, nobody. Good night, mush. And good night to the little old lady whispering, "Hush." Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere.
Thank you, Tom. Wow, what a fantastic way to hear this classic story. Closer to the moon than ever before. Goodnight Moon has been a special favorite story for 75 years, and this is the first time that it's been read from the International Space Station. To mark this special experience, we asked children to submit questions they want astronauts to answer. Hundreds of questions were sent in. It was difficult to pick a few that are going to be answered now. We are excited to hear Dr. Tom Marshburn and his colleague, astronaut Mark Vande Hei, answer kids' questions.
The first question is by Natalie G. from Pennsylvania. What do you do to pass the time when you aren't working on the ISS?
Great question. I like to look out the windows. Looking out the windows, the views are incredible. I really like to read a lot. And one of my favorite things is to talk to my family back on the Earth. We are very well supported with the ability to make phone calls from up here. Thea W. From Kansas, who asks, when will we go to the moon again?
Great question. Right now, there is the Space Launch System sitting on top of a launch pad. We're going to be testing it out, and soon we'll be launching that in the Orion spacecraft deep into space. We hope to go to the moon and bring the first crew soon in the next few years to the moon and even land on the moon here in the next decade. Ashlyn B. from Michigan asks, can you see color in space? How would it look if you drew on a piece of paper? Would the colors look the same as on Earth?
Yes, absolutely. We can see colors in space. our eyes work just the same. Of course, we're in air up here. And when I look out the window, I'm looking from an air environment out the window into space. But it's very much like when you look up into space and see stars. Of course, you can see mildly different colors because a lot of brightness. But as you can see around us, we've got lots of different colors. Tom and I are dressed in kind of drab colors. Both of us are wearing gray, but we've got lots of flags behind us. You can see colors in there. And when we look out the window, like I mentioned earlier, we can see the colors of the ocean and the deserts and all the shades of different browns and the full moon shining on the terrain is beautiful. And then with city lights at night and the orange of those lights, so many different colors are a joy for us to see up here. So I'm very, very happy that we can see colors in space.
Rocco M. from Iowa is asking, if you didn't become an astronaut, what would you have wanted to be?
I would have loved to have been a teacher. That was a potential career for me. I also was very interested in using my physics background to get involved in production of alternate forms of energy, because we're going to need energy and we've got to find a renewable way to get that. That's inexpensive enough for people to want to use it. So those are very appealing things to me. Also, especially even after flying, I have a lot of concern about our environment. So any job that's associated with helping us live more sustainably in the future is something I was interested in, and I might be even more motivated about it now that I've been able to look back on our beautiful planet from space. Caleb W. from Maryland asks, what do stars look like in outer space?
Stars look a bit like they do on Earth. If you went out into a field away from a big city on a cold winter night with no clouds, just bright and brilliant, you can see so many stars, and almost there are countless stars there. However, in space, when we see them, they don't twinkle. There's no atmosphere for the starlight to go through. So they're just direct, steady points of light, and quite fascinating and absolutely beautiful. Grayson B. from Missouri asks, what is it like to float in space?
I think the closest way to describe, so if I'm not touching any surfaces, or like Tom is right now, not touching any surfaces, then it's kind of like being in a pool, where for us right now, the only thing that's touching us is our clothes and our and the air. If you're in a pool, the only thing that's touching you is the water and your swimming suit. So that's the closest analogy I can make. What I would say the best part about it here, though, is the complete freedom of motion. We have a lot of fun doing flips like Tom and I are doing right now.
Thank you, astronauts Tom and Mark. And thank you to the many children around the country who submitted questions. And now let's see how Crayolean James Wells and his daughter Ava are using the Goodnight Moon story and what we've just heard from the astronauts to create some night sky and moon art.
Inspired by Goodnight Moon, we're going to create a night sky view seen from our backyard. Ava and I will use a variety of materials, and Ava will share with us what materials we'll be using today.
We will be using a marker, crayons, and we'll use some scissors and glue and construction paper.
Great, thank you, Ava. So we'll start with black construction paper as our background. Then next, we will add some sparkling stars and a big, bright moon. Now, for the moon, we'll use crayons to illustrate the moon here on the paper. Now, there are 8 phases of the moon, but we're going to draw the full moon for today's activity. So what we'll do is we're going to start illustrating our moon now. We'll use white for a majority of the moon, and we'll use gray to add in some of the details that we see here on the moon. So Ava, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yes.
All right, let's start. So we're going to draw this on our page, but friends, of course, you can decide where you would like to place the moon in your background. And then, of course, you can decide whatever color you want to be creative with to illustrate your moon. But again, we're going to use white and gray for our details. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm illustrating my moon here in the top corner of my paper. And you know, the moon is a big round shape here, right? So I have my nice big shape, and I am going to start filling this moon in. For our stars, we're going to use our markers. Here, Ava, you have your marker? Okay, great. Go ahead, you have your marker there. And what I'm going to do is add just lots of stars in our background here, because we know that when we look up at the night sky, there are so many stars and we can't even count the number of them in the sky. So we're just going to add stars here in our background. And I'm going to get really creative. Now that we have stars in the background, because we are looking outside of our window, we're going to add some window panes and frames around our page here. So what we're going to do to create these window panes, we're going to create some rectangular strips. Now, Ava and I have some that are already pre-cut, but for you at home, what I would encourage you to do is take a sheet of paper. So to create panes to go alongside the longer part of your page, you want to take your paper, hold it vertical here, and you fold it in half. You crease it along that fold so that your paper is even. And to create multiple frames here, you want to fold it again. And we call this accordion style folding, where you'll create multiple frames here. Now, you're welcome to fold it again. I'm just gonna open it up here so you can see. So I have 4 rectangular shapes that goes along this sheet of paper. You take your scissors, here we have our scissors, and you just cut along the crease of the paper. So this is for the longer edge. For your shorter edge, what you want to do is take your paper and hold it horizontal. And again, you fold it in half, you crease it on the opposite side here, and again, you fold it, you crease it again. What we're going to do is we're going to use our glue, and we are going to create or at least paste down the frames of our paper here. So Ava, she's going to use the white. I'm going to use some brown strips of paper, and we're going to just run the glue along the edge here, the opposite side, and neatly place those here on the sheet of paper.
This completes our work of art.
Thank you, Ava. And friends, you can continue adding to your piece by including or drawing things like trees, an airplane, you may see a fence, street lights, or even lightning bugs. Whatever you decide to do, we cannot wait to see what you create.
Thank you, James and Ava, for sharing art ideas inspired by GoodnightMoon. While you finish up your artwork, I want to mention to teachers and parents that you can keep learning colorful and fun by staying connected to the organizations who brought you today's Read Along, Draw Along program. You can receive free resources in your email every month by signing up for newsletters and staying connected. We want to thank our friends at Harper Kids for celebrating the 75th anniversary of GoodnightMoon with us. And special thanks to NASA and the International Space Station for providing this incredible opportunity to learn more about space exploration and STEAM careers. Thank you, James and Ava, for inspiring young artists' creativity and curiosity. And very special thanks to all our viewers who joined us. Goodbye, everyone. Good night, Moon.